Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm the GCSE science teacher, and in today's video we're going to be learning about extinction. This is for GCSE Biology students. I hope you guys find this helpful. Let me know if you do, and feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. As I'm filming this, we are so close to 1,600 subscribers, which is incredible. So thank you so much for all your support, and let's get started. So what do these organisms have in common? You might have seen these before, maybe in like an animated movie, or you might have actually seen them in a museum, and that is a clue. If you've seen these in like a textbook or a museum, you guys, it's because they unfortunately do not exist anymore. We have the woolly mammoth, the dodo, and we also have the saber-toothed tiger. And unfortunately, like I say, these animals no longer exist, and it's due to the fact that they are now extinct. So let's have a look at these animals and see if you can recognize any of these. It's crazy how many animals and plants are becoming extinct. And this isn't just a thing like that happened many hundreds of years ago, like the dodo. This is actually something that's happening now, and it's worth us knowing about, because obviously if we know about it, we can look at ways as a society to prevent it happening in the future as well. Unfortunately, these animals are extinct too. A lot of these animals became extinct in 2019 up to 2024. So for example, we have the mountain mist frog. This was an Australian frog. It was declared extinct in 2022, and this was due to a fungus that potentially wiped it out. Other animals like the Chinese paddlefish, which you can see on the top right there, this was one of the world's largest freshwater fish, and it was actually declared extinct in 2020. And this was due, they believe, to do with overfishing and habitat loss. So unfortunately, a lot of these animals, a lot of these plants, these organisms, these living things, they have become extinct due to human activities, due to other reasons like predators or new diseases and things like that. So we're going to explore a bit more about how extinction occurs, what extinction is, but these are just some key examples that are relevant to today, unfortunately. So extinction, what exactly is it? In its simplest form, extinction is when no individuals of a species remain alive anywhere in the world. And that just means that there is a permanent loss of that species. They can't reproduce and they are gone forever. So we cannot get them back once they're gone. So in the case of the dodo, this is the most kind of common example. The dodo was a bird. It was actually quite a large bird, probably about 3 or 4 feet high. It's quite a big, tall bird, but it was flightless. It couldn't fly. And it was native to the island of Mauritius. That is a place in the world that still exists today. And when people went to discover different parts of the world, they came across the island of Mauritius and they found the dodo. And at the time, the people who went to travel there, they brought dogs with them. And the dogs were a predator that killed them. And the birds, unfortunately, were unable to fly away. They had not evolved to be in contact with a unusual animal, i.e. the dog. It was not native to that environment. So the dog was able to kill these birds. And then obviously with the new predator, the dodo became extinct because they all were attacked and eaten, and that just meant that less were able to reproduce, and therefore they became endangered, and then they became extinct. So like I said, new predators. In the exam, if you ever get asked about this, remember to only talk about predators in the context of animals. Plants do not have a predator because they don't just, hide and run away. They can't do that. Predators specifically hunt and kill their prey. Another reason is new diseases, so can quickly spread and kill a population. Competition, some species will outcompete native ones, especially if there's a newly introduced species for that particular area. They can outcompete them for food, habitats, space, nutrients, especially if it's a plant. A good example of this, or a bad example, depending on how you look at it, is the red and grey squirrel. Red squirrels were native to the environment. However, grey squirrels were found in, to outcompete the red squirrels and in urban areas that occurred. So there's less red squirrels now. We also have environmental changes. So things like flooding, drought, extreme fires, those different climate change examples, different extreme weathers really over prolonged periods of time, that can also affect the habitat of an environment, the food availability. All of those can be linked back to things like human activities, so pollution, and deforestation and things like this, which is obviously harmful to the environment. And then lastly, we also have this idea of extreme catastrophes. So things like, you know, things like a meteorite or a tsunami or maybe volcanic activity. All of those are really extreme. Dinosaurs, for example, a lot of the scientific community, the theory is that a meteorite may have hit and wiped out the dinosaurs. Here are some GCSE questions. These are just some typical kind of questions they could ask you. So what is extinction? You'd give a simple definition. It's probably worth 1 or 2 marks. The second one would be give reasons for why a species might become extinct. Also, we have this idea of how human activities can increase the risk of extinction. So, describing that, you might be asked to explain. Remember, explain means give a reason why. Describe is simply saying what you see. So, why something happens. Usually, this is linked to an explain question, but it could be describe as well. And then lastly, you have the questions like evaluate the impact of climate change on biodiversity. This question is not directly asking you about extinction, but it is giving you a hint to mention it. This is where like 6 mark questions come from. So I'll show you how to answer that sort of question now. So, when you are in the exam, you might have seen the lines of doom, the 6 mark questions. Loads of students either leave this out or they write just a few bullet points. And I want you guys to get all the marks, obviously. So, if you see the lines of doom, please don't be scared. This is not anything to catch you out. But I would say when you see a question like this, know that this is a leveled answer. So at GCSE in science, instead of giving 6 bullet points, you're not going to get 6 marks for doing 6 bullet points as you would in, say, like a 2 or 3 mark question. What you're expected to do here is write in a very logical way. The first thing you want to do is write a definition. So I would write the word definition, underline it, that's your heading, and then write underneath what extinction means. So define any terms in the question. Then you want to write out another heading and say causes or human activities. So what things can cause extinction? We know that climate change, that links to human activities. We know that predators, especially if a human introduces a new predator, for example. And you want to go into detail about how that links to answering the question, how that links to a lack of biodiversity, so a lack of variation, or how it links to extinction or endangered species. And this sort of question is essentially looking for your knowledge, but also your application, and looking at a way that you as a scientist can bring all this information together. And give some examples, mention the dinosaurs, mention the dodo, mention species that are now currently in this current climate being affected by extinction as well. All of those sorts of skills are what they're looking for in the exam. If you have any requests, you guys, about going through specific exam questions, or perhaps you have questions related to exam technique, I am more than happy to make an entire video on that. Just let me know in the comments. And that's it from me today. I've been the GCSE science teacher and you have been curious. Thank you so much for your time in watching. If you've made it to this end of the video, thank you so much. You are amazing. And thank you for all your support, you guys. You are so, so kind and lovely on my channel, Instagram, TikTok, all of it. So thank you so much. It's always great to hear from you guys. So if you have any questions, queries, you want to share something, maybe you've got a fun fact of the day that's science related, whatever the case may be, feel free to comment down below. And yeah, like the video, subscribe, join us. It'd be amazing to have you here. So thank you so much in advance. Have a great day and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.